What's good, Global Grinders? This is Chief Ferguson Bay here, and this is the first episode of Off Duty Grind. So we have a special guest today, Chief Victoria Elliott, and she's going to talk to us today about using the skills that you gained in the military to translate into a business. So without further ado, let's get started. How you doing, Victoria?
Good morning, Chief. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm good. All right. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you coming on. This is the first episode, so I appreciate you really.
No worries. No worries.
All right. So let's get into yourself so we can introduce you to the world, because I already know you. We already known each other for several years now. So one of my best friends. So if y'all don't know, but when and why did you join the military?
I knew I was going to join the military when I was young, when I was young. It was one of the first ways to really get into a STEM-related field, and I like being very technical and mathematical, and to overcome some of the barriers that I was facing, the military offered that avenue. So that's why I joined, and I've been happy with that decision.
Yeah, I get that. I appreciate it, because a lot of people do, like you said, the STEM field it's hard to get into, like even like say if you want to get to certain agencies or anything like that, they're not recruiting at our high schools and stuff like that. In order to get into those fields, it's real easy once you join the military, something like that. So
Correct.
So, all right. So you have businesses, right?
I do. So I have the Crafty Knoll. I do resume writing. I also support diversity and inclusion, and I'm starting a suicide prevention campaign dedicated to youth 10 to 19.
Okay. So when did you start thinking about starting a business?
So I honestly started thinking about starting a business back in 2009. I believe it was one of the first times you and I had a discussion about starting a charity, and we wanted to focus on things outside of sports. And so we talked about it, and then we just end up, got sidetracked. There was work, there was life, right? We were real young, so we needed to do some things. And then, but that was really my introduction, just realizing that business is about helping people. And even a charitable business is still a business. It's more of a mindset than bringing in income.
Yeah, I actually remember those conversations talking about starting a rec center, because everybody wants to do sports and stuff. So arts, yeah. So
I still got blueprints.
Like, even though we get paid in the military, do you think it's important for military members to, start a business, or should they focus on their work in the military?
I that's a very good question. I think you have to do both, right? We signed a commitment and a contract to protect and defend, and we need to be faithful to that commitment and to that contract. But I also want, as entrepreneurs, for us to realize that the military, no matter how long we stay, is a temporary evolution. It's temporary, and it should be used like anything other than your own internal gifts and talents as a stepping stone to get you to where you should and want to be later in life. And only you can define what that later in life looks like. So you should do both. So you give the Navy what you're supposed to, give the military what you're supposed to give the military. And then you in your spare time, because we all have it, put down that video game or that extra, night out, and think about what's going to happen when I leave the military, and do that while you're in, so you're not struggling, when you get out. Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree with it. Especially like using it as a stepping stone, because like I say, the Navy's going to get out you like what the Navy wants. So like, what are you going to get out the Navy, So,
yeah. I remember us having this conversation of, I used to tell myself, like, I'm going to give the military 100%, but I got to get 110. And that 110 that I'm getting in return has to be something in regards to education, experience, school. If traveling, for some people, you define what that 10 is that you're going to get from the Navy, and you do that honestly and integritiously. But yeah.
Yeah, Navy has a lot to, the military has a lot to offer in general. And I think it's great or people should take more advantage of the things that it offers than they are, because I don't think a lot of people take advantage of what the Navy offers as far as TA, Fleet Family Support Center, Cool, Navy Cool, Air Force Cool. So I know you know a lot about resume writing, right?
Yeah.
What can you tell us about your resume writing specialty?
So how that started is some time ago when I was thinking about getting out of the Navy, I went to, it was formerly known as tech, and there was a portion in there where you have to write a resume and you go through an interview process. And I had no idea what these people were doing. And I understood that I was doing a job, but I didn't understand how to take my job that I was doing that was very specific and related to something in the outside world. Oh, yeah. I didn't appreciate the skills that I had earned over that time, all those collateral duties that I had been working. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there and I was like, I don't really have anything to offer. And the instructor, it was a large class, and the instructor was like, well, you have something, so go try again, come back tomorrow. And I was like, well, thanks for the help. And I sat down and I was like, what does this look like? What did I gain out of this time that I've spent mm-hmm. in the military? What did I gain? And so I wrote this resume, I give it back, and the instructor was like, good. And I was like, awesome. And that was it. And I was like, I had no idea if what I put on there made sense, if it was appropriate for the job that I was applying for. Right. It was just, you did it. And that's problematic when some of the military skills that we gain over, however long we stay in, they don't translate very well into the outside world. Yeah. And I took a class in Fleet and Family. Shortly after that, I decided not to get out of the Navy at the time because I was not ready. So I started going to Fleet and Family classes, and I was like, oh, so this is how you write a resume. And then I just started practicing, and I would ask people, hey, can I write your resume? Because I wanted to make sure that when I got out, I did a good job for me. And so by focusing on me, I was able to give to others. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just been something I've been doing ever since.
Yeah. And you think it's important for military members to learn to write resumes?
Oh, absolutely. And even as entrepreneurs, right? So you never know, if you don't know what you want to do when you get out, resume writing is a phenomenal skill set because you can do it in your own time. You can do it in the nights and the weekends and then keep your day job. If you want to work for someone else, like remain an employee, you need to know how to market yourself, because that's really what a resume is. How do I tell them that I'm the best candidate for this job?
Right. And I think you can reach a lot of clients in the military with resume writing, because a lot of us go 20 years. I'm going 17 years. I've never written a resume except for, as you said, in like a TAP course or something like that. But I don't know how to write a resume because I've never had to. But once I get out, that's the first thing that if I want a job that I'm going to have to do. And it's hundreds of thousands of military members that may need that assistance.
Right. And again, this is about, when you think of it, when you serve someone else, you usually reap something in benefit, right? So, and I think that's important because what you said, the military tells you what you need to do. They send you to a specific school and they say, hey, go to this school, learn this. And they say, we need someone to conduct the collateral, sign up for it. And you're like, yeah. And you may never get training on what any of that is. And you learn through School of Hard Knocks sometimes what that's like. And understanding that should kind of help you with the resume. But if you don't know what words to use, what's trending in the outside market, you can write something glowing and beautiful, but it may not reach, that HR person because it's foreign to them and it's not something that they can relate to.
And about also like military credential, because like you say, in collateral duties and a lot of military jobs that we do don't really translate. So if I get a IW warfare pin and I try to put it on my resume, it's not going to say anything. But if I get a CFL collateral duty, I'll put CFL, like it's not going to translate. But like, can you tell us how to help translate those jobs and stuff into the civilian sector?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the first things that we have to do is, as we're getting these collaterals, they should be collaterals that you're interested in. And I know that does not always work. I've been in a position where it's like, hey, this is your extra duty. Go forth and do this, right? Go do it. Um, and it's even in that situation, you need to understand, what is this collateral doing? What is this extra duty for? Who is it serving? And why does it matter? So do your 5 W's, and then you determine your how.
Yeah.
And after you've done that, then you say, okay, how do I make this marketable for me? Because I know this is going to be temporary, because you hold it for maybe 4 months to 2-3 years.
Yeah.
How do I make this marketable for something for my resume? And then you go to Navy Cool or Army Cool,
Yeah.
or whatever credentialing service that your branch offers. You do that. And you take that and you're like, okay, did I perform these things under the eligibility? And I think the credentialing systems are just underutilized so much, and they're throwing out information. That's probably a whole nother topic for you, just how wonderful and how important that program is. But how do you take what you are now doing? How do you make it better? Because you should take on extra duty with the intent to make it better than it was when you received it.
Right.
And how do you preserve that information and knowledge that you gained as you move forward? And starting a resume is a great way to do that.
I get you. And I also like how you said, if you do a collateral, make sure it's something that you enjoy, because that's one way to make it better, because you're actually not doing it because you were told to do it. You're doing it because you enjoy doing it. And say, like, when I take a collateral, I do like PAO or something like that, or MWR, that allows me to network. So from there, I get networking skills. PAO, I get to use cameras and microphones and all that stuff, take pictures and, be around a bunch of people, which is stuff I like to enjoy, which is stuff that I enjoy. So you end up doing a better job of it, because that's what you do probably in your off time as a hobby, and you giving that skill to the Navy, and then you can parlay that skill into a business. If people see you taking pictures or something like that, they can like, hey, can you come take pictures of my family or something like that, if you're taking good pictures, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're honing that skill that you already have, just making it better.
Yeah. Are there any other collateral duties that you can think of that people can turn into business?
So I believe every collateral duty, and I mean every collateral duty, can be turned into something. It wouldn't be a collateral if it wasn't needed. And the Navy does a good job. The Air Force does a good job. The Army does a good job. I can't speak for the Coast Guard. I'm sorry. And I know the Marines as well. They do a good job of vetting out what's important, and they say, hey, is this extra duty something that is mandated and should be required? And based on that alone, knowing that if there's like resources being poured into these functions, it's a need somewhere.
Right.
And so I can use me as an example. I've been a part of a diversity and inclusion group since 2011 in some form. I've served on boards in other countries. I have helped develop things for like preschools and starting early with that idea. And all that came from volunteering to say, hey, I'll run the diversity and inclusion program for the Navy, because that's what I'm in. And from that, I've started working with school districts, parent-teacher associations. And as you can see now, there's a huge market for diversity and inclusion. When I started, it was just kind of that thing that was off in the corner, like, what is that? Why you? Okay, you want to do it? Go ahead. But I thought it was important that everyone received equitable treatment. And then, if you think about it, equity brings about equality. And so if we look at it in those terms, it was easy for me to say, hey, this is a no-brainer. This is exactly what I'm about. I like doing that. We need our future, which is our youth, to be able to navigate through these troubling times. and it has reaped wonderful dividends on my end.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're using those skills.
Yeah.
And it's something that you're passionate about, right?
Yep. Yep. And I would say take some of those collaterals or extra duties that may be a bit challenging as well. So don't just be like, oh, I want to be the voting officer. That is important. Do not get me wrong. That is important, but that is so seasonal in a lot of ways. Whereas something that's dealing with security or something that's dealing with running an enlisted association, an officer, right? Those things are continuous. And so those skills won't rust over time if you're actively engaged.
I like that you brought up those associations, because running those associations are pretty much the same as running a nonprofit or
Absolutely.
running a regular, organization where you vote, you have, different positions and officers and stuff like that. So that's, like I think I told you before that I was looking at possibly starting a fraternity, and using those skills will be the same way, where you still have to write charters and stuff like that. So translate those skills into nonprofits and starting up businesses and writing your letters of, I forget what the letters are called, but your letters of organization and how your organization is going to run. So you can translate those skills.
Yeah. So the bylaws, which are, I've actually went to volunteer for an organization because I had some free time, and I was like, okay, let me see those bylaws. I want to know what I'm getting into. And they didn't have any. And I was floored. I was like, so how do I know what you're about? How do I know that we are being held accountable by the public and by, the members and officers that are running this organization? And I kind of got the look like, what? And I was like, okay, you know what? Let's write some bylaws. Let's do this. And so I was able to help this particular association get some bylaws together. And again, if I didn't run several associations or, be involved in things like your holiday party or your MWR or your JEA, your CPOA, your first class association, I would not have had that experience to bring to them. And now they're a flourishing association. And I don't think it was because of me. They already had the skill set. I just gave them a framework to hold each other accountable and any new members accountable. And so to make sure that we're doing, the public good, which is what we were trying to do in the beginning.
And that people know what they're about. Even smaller stuff, say like PQS line items. So PQS line items can help you start a business as well. So say like babysitting, like babysitters need CPR qual. You don't need CPR quals, but they have the babysitter certifications, and some of those line items that we already have translate into some of those certifications that will help people start businesses.
And that is a great point, Chief. I think what's really important is, again, taking an assessment of everything that you've done and gained and earned and owned, and say, I know even if I do 30 years in the military, this is still temporary for me. What is most important? And if you do that, wonderful. If you decide that, you know what, I'm going to do my first tour and that's it, I'm done. Get those things. And then you can say, in the case of children, I love babysitting. I don't personally, but if you are watching this video too, you're like, I love babysitting and I have this CPR qualification. Absolutely bring that up. Like, hey, I'm certified. Here's a person who said that I'm certified. Here's the program I got certified under. Because even talking about that, you can build your network and you'll be like, oh, well, this person did this and this. And so don't despise small beginnings. They matter.
Hey, just a little PQS. But I think stuff like, say, like even babysitting, like there's a lot of things that we need in the military that military personnel can start businesses doing. Say like one is, like I say, babysitting, because we move places and we don't know babysitters. It's hard to go out. Like me and my wife, it's hard to go out sometimes because we got the children. We can't go anywhere. If you go overseas, beauty and stuff like that, hair,
Yep.
is stuff that that people can start a business fairly easy if that's their passion.
Yeah. And so to that point, and I'm so glad you brought this up. There are non-resident training courses that we have access to. And when I was young in the Navy, I had probably more free time than I needed. But I was on the ship. There was nowhere for me to go. So I would do these trainings. And what I found is they offer things on music theory, mathematics,
right,
journalism. I did something outrageous on, and I'm trying to think of it now, it escapes me, but it is just a warehouse of knowledge, and they continue to update it. And, you know, they've transitioned it to other areas because they want to make it something that military members, especially in my case as a Navy person, as a sailor, where it's easy to access these things.
right.
And this material is out there. So let's say, you know what, you joined the Navy as undesignated, and you're like, you know what, I know that I'm going to do one tour and that's it. Go look into those non-resident training courses. And if your passion is music, start there, right? And music is such a great way to express yourself. There's no limit to that, right? So, and because we all have our internal talents, just honing those skills for free that you can use later is just, you can't beat that.
Right. I remember you was taking the like doing a bunch of quals when you was first at our first command. Did you do like helmsman and all that? Or
yes, I was everywhere.
Trying to drive the ship. I'm like, man, you're doing everything. But yeah, but you take advantage of those opportunities, and like, who knows, people can start sailing companies, anything, or sailing. I was about to take a sailing training course out in town, but that could have been a Navy person providing that training. So yeah, but it's opportunities out there, especially with the skills that the Navy provides or allows us to partake in. So it's definitely something we need to look more into, take more advantage of.
I do want to give a word of encouragement. So the way I found those resident training courses wasn't because someone in my chain of command was like, hey, here's all this information, go do it. It literally took like, okay, how do I better myself? Because I don't want to stay in the Navy. That was my attitude. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. That was my attitude. I don't want to stay in the Navy. This is not for me. I got better things to do with my time. I just don't have any real skills. So how do I get some skills? And by doing that, I was able to get into a program that I was told, hey, you know, you really just don't meet the qualifications for this program for a lot of reasons, and we won't get into that. But that was enough drive for me to be like, you don't get to tell me what I bring and what I don't bring. And if I don't have what I need to bring, well, then I'm going to go get it. And that's what I did. I was down at the training's office asking questions. Hey, how do I get smart on this? And I didn't always get, it wasn't always well received. But that didn't stop me. I still went and I found another person to tell me where to go, or, well, have you thought about this? And that is, that's kind of like grit, right? We need a little bit of grit.
Right.
And that mindset just has done wonders.
Yeah. I like that, because like I say, like when people tell you no, or that you can't do something, that's kind of like a ding in your armor, but you know how to fix that. You figure out how to fix that, or how to make it better, right? So if they say, I don't want you to do this because of this and this, now you know what you got to do. And don't use it as, now I can't do it, and go sit in the corner somewhere. Like, okay, now I know exactly what I need. Now go get that, and then come back. Like, okay, I got this and this, like you said.
Now what?
Right. So,
And so to that point, I don't believe we should accept a no for someone who doesn't have the authority to tell us no. Right. So just like when we sign chits and things, there are certain things that have to get to a certain level before it's approved and disapproved. And then they have to tell you why.
Why, right.
Right. And if they don't, you have every right to say, well, why was this not approved? Why was no given? So if they don't tell you this is why, you find out why, and then you go do it.
Yeah.
And then you come back, start that process over.
And I ain't gonna let you put yourself out there by yourself. When I came in the Navy, my intention was to get in, get what I can, and get out as well. So
thank you for not leaving me out there.
Like, you gonna be out there by you. But yeah, when I joined to travel, and I joined to really start a music business, to earn money to start a music business and to go to college. So I was about to get out a couple times, but one of the goals was, well, I traveled for one in my first command. We went everywhere. I started my music business. You helped me with that. You was like one of the first investors, bought me the first computer. And then when I was ready to get out, I didn't have the degree yet. So I was like, what'd you join for? Okay, this, and this. Like, did you get what you said you was going to do? No. So you can't get out yet. So go back and do what you said you were going to do. And then now finish what you said, and then get out. So yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody has their goals when they get in. It's not necessarily, a bad thing to have goals for reasons why you do stuff. It's actually good to have a reason why you do stuff. That way you more intent on doing it. So
yeah, 100%. Having those goals of what you want to do when you come in, it keeps you from getting the job that you don't want.
Right.
Because I remember as I said earlier in the program, that I wanted to come in and do something related to STEM. And the recruiter was like, well, this isn't a field that's large for women. And I was like, I know that. I've already talked to people. I know that it's predominantly this gender or this demographic. So, okay, but it says that you accept women. I'm one of those. How do we get me in there? Right. And I also knew that having this goal, I wanted just to be able to say, okay, I'm doing this and I'm doing good at it. But how do I incentivize this for me? And so, you know what I did? I talked to them about that sign-on bonus. Like, hey, so I can join. And not a lot of women want to do this.
Yeah.
So, and they were like, oh yeah, we do have incentives. I was like, yeah, what does that look like? And we talked about that. I got my little sign-on bonus.
Yeah.
And understanding that you are valuable, right? Even if you just graduated high school and that's it. Even if you only have a GED, you bring value because you have some experience that the Navy, Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, Marines, anything that you join can use.
Yeah, right. And that's important to understand. Like, if they're recruiting you, they need you. So so you might want to get what you want to do, because say I've seen people get in and then say they get into like outfield, like computers and stuff, then they want to do nursing or something like that. And like, why didn't you do medical before you, like, as your job? They're like, they said they didn't have that available. I'm like, if you have the means to wait, like you can wait. But you can still put in for these programs, but the people in those fields are probably more likely to get these I'm talking like, say, officer packages. So we have enlisted people that want to do nursing, that are in the computer field. But I'll say probably the people in the HM field are probably more likely. Still put your package in, of course, but I just asked them, like, how come you didn't do this first? And they just like, they said it wasn't available. Like, oh, like you can wait. Like, they need you.
So there are some circumstances where I've talked to military members and they're like, no, I had to join. Like, it was there was no option to wait. But at the first opportunity to change your job, you do that, and you don't like take no for an answer. And it's okay to get out and come back.
Yeah,
like that's a thing. You can do that. And it does, broken service and all this stuff. But you have to provide for yourself the way you give to your organization, or you're only given mediocre, effort and results, and it's just not a good feel.
Right. I think it's better for the organization when people come in doing something that they're passionate about and something that they want to do, because then you don't have to tell them to do it. Like,
Right. So
you spend a lot of time motivating people that shouldn't really need motivation if they were really wanting to do what they're doing. Yeah. So I got a quick question for you. Like,
yeah.
What books are you reading?
Oh man, I'm reading 3 books right now, and one of them is a children's book, Brown Bear, Brown Bear, and
Children's book?
I do. There is so much inspiration in children's books. I don't judge me.
I'm just messing with you.
I get a lot of inspiration, and I have children, right? So I try to. But yeah, there's a lot of inspiration in children's books, and I think sometimes we over focus on, oh, let me get this self-help book because it's supposed to help me. And it's like, well, you can get help anywhere. You can walk outside and be inspired by a tree. Mm-hmm. So, and I know that sounds probably silly to some, but I've been inspired by a tree before and it worked. So, but yeah, so that's, and then, I just finished Lords of Finance, which is a book about economics. And I think it is one of the most eye-opening books on understanding money and how we got to where we are. So there are a lot of military members who are in the military because they need money, and understanding why money is important and how you get it, understanding like inflation and why we use money the way we do is extremely important. So it isn't a leadership book or any of that, but I think it's a great book to understand just how, the world wars help shape the money that we use.
Oh, okay.
And What Got You Here Won't Get You There by Marshall Goldsmith. So I just started reading this one. Oh. And even in the first 2 chapters, I'm like, wow, this should be on like the reading list. This is an amazing book, especially if you're in a position of leadership.
Okay. So I don't have any other questions. Is there anything you want to say to the people?
I do. First, thank you all for taking your time and spending it with us today. I think I hope that you got something out of this. Just want to reiterate a few points for extra duty activities that you take as a part of your commitment to your military and your service. Serving our country is a great and noble thing to do. It's something to be proud of, right? This is a great country and we like to keep it independent. And that's why we do some of the things that we do to protect and defend. But remember, this is still temporary. And while you're in, give 100%, but get 110 out. Go to those trainings, attend those meetings, ask the questions. And it's okay. Have a questioning attitude. I'm sure we've all heard that at some point. Don't be disrespectful, right? But have that questioning attitude and strive for those extracurricular activities that align with what you want to do. And by doing that, you can just market yourself in a way that you wouldn't have been able to if you just accepted everything people just gave you. Fleet and Family has a plethora of training that these trainings will teach you how to write a resume. They'll teach you how to be a new parent. They'll teach you how to be a spouse for somebody that's in the military. They cover things like command fitness leadership. They cover areas like command finance specialist. So if you're into that kind of stuff and you're like, I want to be an actuary or an accountant or a tax lawyer, right? Go to those courses. Grab that Fleet and Family Service magazine. They usually come out quarterly. Look through there and see what courses you have. They're usually a day or 2. And then if you don't like it, okay, that was 48 hours that you spent learning something new that you can hand off to someone that needs or didn't know about it. Or you can use that skill set to be like, hey, you know what? I like this. How do I continue on? And then build a relationship, start networking. there is power in networking, and I think you can speak to that much better than I can, Chief. There's power in networking. Yeah. So don't sleep on those collaterals. Try to get the ones that really speak to you, and then have an I Love Me binder. So I think that is the one thing that is most important. So don't judge mine. And I like to make mine pretty because black and white and gray and blue, sometimes just boring. So, but here's my I Love Me binder. And in here, as you can see, I have it tabbed out. I have evals, I have awards, I have copies of anything that, those designation letters, keep all that stuff. All of it. And if you don't have an I Love Me binder, it's never too late to start. Most of the stuff is housed on your OMPF. But what happens if it crashes? Hopefully it doesn't, but technology, things happen. So I think just taking time to focus on you is critical. Mm-hmm. It's critical. Focus on you.
Focus on you. Yeah. So thanks. This is again, it's Chief Victoria Elliott. If you want to reach out to Chief, just email at chief@offdutygrind.com. If you got any questions that I can send to her, comment below and we'll answer your questions as soon as possible. So again, to summarize, we talked about Fleet Family Support Center as an opportunity to take classes to gain skills that could potentially help you in your life and to start a business. We talked about the cool programs: Air Force, Navy cool, Marine cool. I miss anything? Oh, Army cool. Yeah, everything's cool. So, so if you're interested in those programs, take advantage of those programs. Again, TA, and even your collateral duties, because those collateral duties and those skills, or the JEA or the associations that Chief spoke about, can be used to build your business or to start a business, because you've gained those skills. And the military is a great platform, or great starting point to get you in the right mindset and get you the right skill sets to be able to start a business and get you potential clients, because we all need the services that the people provide. Thanks for coming. And
thanks for having me. Bye.
All right, Global Grinders, that's our first episode of Off Duty Grind. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I'd like to thank our special guest, Chief Victoria Elliott, for giving us that great information. If you got any questions, just comment below. As always, like, comment, subscribe. If you like what you heard, just put that thumbs up. If you want to hear more, hit that notification button and subscribe, please. Thanks for watching, and I'm out. Chief Ferguson Bay. Bye.